on some of these pictures you see things that look like bows, but you never see arrows. So they may have had bows and arrows, we don't know. But they were not strong enough to kill animals of this type, which had big fur and so forth. So you had to have physical contact with them, having only very short weapons. And therefore you had to bring them down. And I think this was the normal technique of killing the animal. But it shouldn't be regarded primarily as an economic occupation, because the festival after that, these were eaten in festivals that are visible in the refuse and so forth, therefore were probably very important, even if they didn't include the whole pack. We know that in these mobs, not all people are included. If you look at the previous picture, another proof that this is not a sequence is that in the previous picture, people wear a beard. All people wear a beard. And in the next images again, some of them do not. Well, anyway, there are differences. So, if they can be read in sequence, it's because the gestures were so ritualized that from any moment of the hunt that you have, you can know what the next moment is going to be. And the part we don't have, of course, is what I think is the climax, but it's beyond the climax too, when the animal is fallen and that the mob rushes for the kill. So there were these festivals, but we had another proof that the animals were killed, and this one is. That it's not a joke, in other words. Ian Hubble seems to treat it as a joke, or not to see the importance of the legs cut off. And probably the people of Çatalhöyük, when they saw the first picture, they all knew very well what the man reaching for the front legs was doing, even though it's not visible in that picture, because they knew everything about the ritual technique. But I say, first of all, it's a technique of the hunt. But now look at the horns of the animal. The horns of the animal are represented the first time on the head of the animal where they belong, and a second time, you see, and it's true on both pictures. On the first picture, it's represented with more care, but it's obviously the horns. Therefore, if it were a cartoon, modern cartoon, we know immediately, people before writing and people who want to get rid of writing behave in the same fashion, and they express meaning in the same way. The second pair of horns means that after the death of the animal, which is certain, the horns will be transported somewhere else. They are being carried away. And of course, the archaeologists, even with 5% on their Çatalhöyük, know very well where these horns were. They were in, maybe you show the next picture. Yeah. See, this is one of the benches under which the ancestors were buried. And this is the north wall, which was a sacred wall. And these are the horns of the animals which were hunted in the pictures we saw before. Therefore, there is a sacred purpose. And the mystery of the sacred there is just as great as the mystery of archaic sacred in religions that were studied by anthropologists. How can you shift from the image of the animal as an enemy that you persecute, that you treat badly because you're really mad at him? He doesn't want to let himself be caught. Yes, he should. And he resists all he can. But how can you shift to a picture where these horns are protective, since they are inside the house? And they stayed inside the house in lots of generations because they were repainted and reused when a new house was built on top of the preceding one. Very often they are in much worse shape, because the horns disappears and it's only the core of the horn which is there, so much less spectacular too. But I think there's a picture of reconstitution. No, but there's one before. Did you miss one?
This one?
No.
No.
I'm looking
No.
for one which is a modern reconstitution
No.
of the house, the inside of the house. It's not there. Well, anyway, if you look inside the house, you know, the north wall, there were all these protruding horns which were huge and scary and tend to make you believe that it was a very, what should I say, warlike, scary religion, but not at all. Once the animal was dead, its significance changed completely. It became protected. That's why it was put inside the houses. It became really divine, quote unquote, in the sense that he had there. And I think the reason is the mimetic reason, is that scapegoating united the mob against the animal. And if you look at the members of the mob, they are wounded. And the idea, I think, that the image wants to convey is that they are wounded by the animal. Who is responsible? But I don't think it's possible. Many of them, you see, like this is very obvious, but there are arms and even heads neatly cut off, you know. Therefore, there is a purpose there. And the purpose, I think, is to show that the animal is vanquished with great difficulty until, and finally, peace comes back because of the animal. But I really think we are dealing, no animal such as a stag could inflict that type of wound on a human being, cut off an arm. You know? You've never seen a stag bite off the arm of the hunter. You know? Therefore, there is something mythical about the picture of the wounds. And there are people who have no heads who continue the hunting. So, in reality, you can assume that there was internal trouble in the societies, and that there was a violence, which in a way gave way in the hunt back to the unity of the group, which is the reason, I think, the basic reason religion is never purposeless or senseless, as the modern world believes. But the animal embodied a shift from the violence of the community to the restored peace, to the unity of the group. Therefore was really divine, was what we call an idol. Yeah.
René, could I just ask you, what do you think that figure at the bottom center is carrying? It looks like penises.
It might be.
I mean, so castration.
Maybe castration.
This is a material contribution to the peace of the community.
That's true. Well, I think there's suggest that, you know, I think it's very good reading, but of course it's a tentative. But when there are too many possibilities like this, they tend to become more credible. And well, in order to understand
it's a woman.
really all the aspects, we could compare